Welcome to Lift the Lid Leadership 423 for another episode. I'm your host, Matt Yeager, and I'm glad you've joined me for episode number 3. This is pretty exciting. This has been fun. We spent the first couple episodes. I shared a little bit about my story. Last episode, I shared a little bit more about being truthful about who we are and what our deficiencies are, and why that's important to really understand what that is. So this time we're going to flip the script a little bit, and we're going to talk more on the positive side of things about what our strengths are and recognizing those. But before we get into that, I want to share something with you. I'm here in my garage, and right behind me is the cabinets that hold all my tools. Well, when I first was younger and started in here, I started out with like a hammer, screwdriver, basic little things like that can fix a lot of really little issues around the house and that. And then I pulled into the drill, got a nice, really powerful electric drill, and that's been helpful as well, doing different projects and things. And so over the years, I've continued to collect some more tools. One of my really cool things, and this really isn't a tool, but I got this as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift last year, is this little carrying case. It has all my nuts and bolts and screws and nails in there and different little hardware. So that has been really fun because I had them all like in just a big pile of things that I had to pull out and try to figure out what I needed. But when you run into a little project, like, I needed like a little screw, or I need a little nail, or I need an anchor for the wall, now I can get to it pretty quick and find what I need and be able to compare the different options that are there to be able to fit there. But as I continue to add tools and stuff, one of the things I did was added power tools. Now, I love power tools. These are really cool. So one of the things I picked up a number of years ago is this circular saw. And circular saw is really cool for taking and cutting like big boards or even just straight lines on smaller boards. The thing is really powerful and cool. Now, the thing I learned is the more I use these tools, the better I get at them. So when I would use the circular saw on some bigger pieces of wood in the past, a lot of times I wouldn't get quite a straight angle all the way through. And so it wasn't as good of a cut as I would have liked to have had. But over the years, I've gotten more steady in figuring out how to make those cuts appropriately and to use the tool like it was designed to be used. I'll share one more tool with you that I picked up this summer. A friend of mine told me about this as I was working on a wood floor in our house. And this is a fun little tool called an oscillating tool. And if you haven't seen one of these guys before, it's pretty neat because you just take and you can put it on the surface, and like especially like for getting under door jambs and stuff and cutting a piece so that wood floor would just fit right underneath the door jamb. This is perfect. And for cutting for little pieces of wood, this has become actually one of my favorite tools that I've been using here over the last several months. But as I mentioned, with tools, the better we get at using tools that we have, the more proficient we are and the more successful we are, and the higher excellence we're able to pull off. Well, that same thing is true with our leadership. With our leadership, we have certain tools that have been given to us, and certain desires have been given to us. And when we utilize them in the right way and continue to work on our competency with them, we can produce great results. This summer, I mentioned I was building this wood floor in our hallway, and it was so cool because I had all the tools I needed. But then what was really fun was that I had a friend that had some really good power tools, power nailers and things like that, an air compressor that he loaned me to be able to get this project done. My daughter-in-law, Karina, had a miter saw, and that was just perfect for cutting a lot of the angles and pieces of wood they fit just right. So sometimes it's nice to be able to borrow some tools too from people to work on projects. But I'll share just a little bit, a couple of tools that I've learned about myself. I shared last time about one of the pieces for me that I've learned is that when I'm authentic with people, and that comes more natural for me to be real and authentic with people, they appreciate that, and that connects them to me and allows them to trust me in a much better way. Another piece that I have, I'm kind of like this visionary guy, and so I like to just create stuff. So I'm really enjoying technology. Uh, I think it was a challenge at first when I started really delving into technology, but the more I use it, the better I get at it. And even with this podcast, I've had to learn some different new technological things as I'm producing it all by myself. So that's been fun for me to utilize technology and the benefits of that. Another thing that I've also found out over the years and realized about myself is my ability. It's kind of like an uncanny ability to see needs and then be able to connect resources to those needs. So my encouragement would be for you to look deeply into yourself and really get a picture for what your strengths are and how you can utilize them, what your passions are. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Lift the Lid Leadership 423. And I hope you lift the lid of your leadership in this next week as well.